All right, welcome to the Build Line. This is our first episode.
Hey, Jerry.
Hey, Heather and Jerry. It's
What's up?
us.
We
We're
made
here.
it. We made it happen.
We're going to talk about all the stuff, all the gossip, all the things we talk about in the truck. We're going to bring it right here. Let
Yeah.
everybody know what time it is.
The usual
usual,
between job site conversations.
Will we delete names of certain suspects? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, that'll be depending on who we're frustrated with this week.
First episode, anything could happen.
I like it. I'm here for it. We're from 20 to 30 sub-trades per job.
$35,000 a
We
week.
will be licensed 10 years next year.
You've mastered the trade. Now you need to master the business.
So we decided to start a podcast because, we just talk about all the things as it is, right?
Yeah.
And it kind of came up as just a funny joke, I feel like, at first.
Yeah, it was, let's do it. And now it just kind of became real.
Yeah. So I guess explain the windshield time talk, as we like to refer to it. What's the windshield time talk?
It's all the things you're not allowed to say out on the street. You got to keep it inside the cab. And it's almost a venting of sorts sometimes, but, keeping it real and just kind of between you and me only type of thing.
For sure. I agree. What now, I guess for people who are tuning in our first episode, maybe we need to give a little backstory on your business, my business, what we do, how we know each other. Mm-hmm. So maybe introduce your company, Jerry.
JR Brewer Drywall, licensed since 2012. And, we do all residential remodels, custom homes. We're doing about 300 projects a year, anywhere from a hole in the wall to an 8,000 square foot house, and 13 guys, 13 to 19, but generally 13 is our core guys all year long. So
definitely. And how long have you been in drywall? You're going to date yourself. Be careful.
I don't want to put labels on it, but too long. If you say forever, then that's a long time. But a long time, as long as I can remember. I've tried other things, little things that didn't stick here and there, but this is what I do. This is it. I'm pretty much third generation drywall contractor, so I've got a lot of elder experience to call from when I need it, and that's helped me out a lot along the way, and it's been a good time, and I got a lot of years left, so yeah.
It's been slinging mud since diapers.
Yeah, it feels like it, I've done it, there's two parts of the trade. There's installing sheetrock and tape and texture, and I've done both. So, I know it inside and out.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah.
Nobody can take it away from me. So I'm happy to, lead a crew and lead a team and teach people along the way and build something over time that lasts the test of time.
For sure.
So that's kind of my goal. Drywall is one thing, but the relationships and the time and building the team and relationship with you guys is the main goal.
Yeah. And I think that's always what we have appreciated as a general contractor and getting to work with you guys. I always say that my drywall guy's got it figured out because he knows how to run a business, but he also knows how to do his business well. Those are two very different things.
Yeah. A guy told me, he goes, man, you've mastered the trade. Now you need to master the business. And you think about that, that's one word, business, but boy, a lot comes into, that's a learning thing all the time, because as you grow, your business grows, and all the different things you need to grow, it grows, you guys know, and sometimes you mess up along the way.
For sure, yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about, is all those things that we've messed up on or been good at, right? And the things we see other people messing up on to kind of light the way.
For sure, yeah. I think that's what we have done well. Myself at Tankersley Construction, Steve and myself started, we'll be licensed 10 years next year. We'll be licensed. We went out on our own, both worked for commercial contractors, been in the industry for, over 15 years now. I worked for an electrical subcontractor. Steve worked for a general contractor. Met on a job site, rest is history, decided we needed some more time for our family, so started our business, and now we've kind of just worked our way up to the jobs that we've really wanted to do, but you got to get the resume to get there, right? So large-scale additions, some custom homes in there, commercial construction when the right client, right fit, right project, that kind of thing. But I think really just that making residential a more professional entity, right? You deal with
Oh yeah.
residential construction. It's the Wild West out there.
It's the Wild West. I mean, it's like not everybody's on the same playing field, you know, everybody's got their own way to go. It's tough. I mean, if I work for 25 different generals a year, 20 of them are on all different levels, you know, and the age gap too. I mean,
Hmm.
you know, you got these old timers and you got these young guys and us in the middle, and we're trying to create kind of like a culture thing. That's what I like about our age group. It's not about the work. It's like this new culture of like a team, and it doesn't have to be so cutthroat and you
Race
know,
to the bottom. Who's going to give the cheapest price? Those kind of pieces as well,
yeah,
right?
hire and fire and all this jazz that goes with that. And you know, when I started there, I was 26 years old when I got my license, and there wasn't very many of us.
Hmm.
And now we're in our 40s, and there's a good amount. So it's every year I meet a new contractor that's in their 40s, like, oh man, this guy kind of thinks the way I do, you know. And I think that those old timers are starting to see that, and they
Yeah.
struggle with. They see the things that you guys bring to the table because you're so involved in social media and everything, and it kind of makes them, I think, scared, and you know, and they go, "Ooh, I need to do this or I need to do that," and
Right. I need to up my game.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can't yell at anybody anymore, you know.
Yeah.
Nor
No.
should we have, I guess, you know. I mean, it was the wrong thing to do, and I've been screamed at and yelled at, and I've done it to other people. But in retrospect, as I've grown, you know, you go, oh, that's not the way to have a lead a team or treat another person. But these old timers still think they can roll that way, and I think they're losing business and a lot of other things.
Yeah, what do you think is the biggest difference? I love the dynamic that we have in that it's general contractor, subcontractor. We have different views and different perspectives because you work with so many different GCs and
Yeah,
we work with anywhere from 20 to 30 subtrades per job. And then if
yeah.
we have 10 to 12 jobs a year, I mean, we've got numerous subs that we work with. What do you think is the biggest differentiator of what you like, what GCs you like working for? What's, the structure? Everybody is a little bit different. What's your perspective on that?
The size matters to me a lot. You know, if you don't have a couple, two, three carpenters working for you, you kind of don't have anything going on, and you can have nothing. You could have nothing for 6 months. But like your size, where you have, you know, project managers and carpenters and things like that, I can go, oh, they're a real business. They're gonna have drywall work for me throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So then I can kind of put more eggs in that basket
Yeah.
and start to create a relationship. And those are the things, one of the things I look for, you know. And then as you have your business and your people and your team, you see how valuable they are. So you start to build that culture. So
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the things that I look for. And you know, that's why I think we've got along, and just kind of, you know, looking at what you're doing and following kind of some of your leads as well. And
Bringing those kind of key people up. I think that's always so, um, I think that's helpful when you have different people in charge of different aspects of it, right? And different GCs that don't maybe just start chucking the truck or he gets hit by a train or whatnot. You're never, now that job's shut down. Now what,
yeah,
right?
now
That's
what?
always
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
always the challenge. Now what, right? That's what we always talk about. Those are different structures. They're different constructions, right? We're a team. We have 9 individuals that work for our company. We've got project managers, we've got site superintendents, carpenters in the field, that kind of stuff. There's always somebody, right? It's like you got to work down the phone tree of,
Yeah.
okay, I can't get a hold of my PM. And who's the next person you're going to call because you need an answer, right?
And with those project managers and lead carpenters and things, then everybody has a position to hold us accountable for things as well, and make
Hmm.
sure we're all in line. You got schedules and things, and that's huge, man. And I think you guys sometimes take it for granted, but you're doing a really good job out here compared to a lot of others. I mean, I'll go to 10 different job sites a day, and it'll be the same pretty much job.
Hmm.
2 blocks away,
Yeah.
and one guy's pulling out his hair, and the other one's got, you know, Janae, your project manager, there, just organized and well equipped, and has all the
Hmm.
information and everything, and that's huge, you know.
Yeah.
Getting down to your structure, you've got your 9 people. That also means you're getting money, and you get us paid, because that's a big thing, right? You know,
Yeah.
we got to get paid for our jobs, and the when I'm looking for a general that I want to create
Yeah.
a relationship with, I could think about those things.
Yeah, you know,
Cash flow is king.
totally. You don't want to be chasing somebody down for a check or financing their job, or now you're out for how long, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, for us, that's always a topic that I feel like we're very proud of in our company. Having worked for a subcontractor in my previous life before starting our own company, you used to have to be in charge of, if it was your job and you were the project manager, you would have to call, and I'd have to call a big general contractor, doing hundreds of $1 million a year. Hey, where's our check from 3 months ago? And it was always crazy to me. It's like, okay, number one, I'm the person calling on this. This is interesting. It's probably somewhere in the realm of six figures at least. And I'm calling and asking about something from 3 months ago. I'm like, well, I already
Yeah.
got paid, right? Like, what does that look like? So for us, we pay weekly, which is most people think is like unheard of, that we actually cut checks for subcontractors weekly. But there's points where I'm like, I don't want to be holding money that I owe to you, right? Where's your
Yeah.
invoice? Why haven't
Get
you
it
billed
out of
me
here.
yet? Yeah, like because it's not really my money, and I think that's always um, I think it's always interesting to see the contractors are more sophisticated are the ones that recognize that, because they're not looking at their bank account that has money in it going, well, all right, let's go out and go buy that truck, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm rich now. It's like, no, I actually owe that to somebody. That's somebody else's money. That's not my money, right? So I think that's always something that I think it helps your relationship too with subs, right?
100%.
Whose job, if we've got the same job and we've got same part of town, same relative scope, right? You're going to give me a price, you're going to give somebody else a price. And it's about the same, but I'm going to pay you right at the end when you're done. Who are you going to go work for?
Both.
That's the goal, right? Right. But if you had to choose one.
No, yeah, I mean, it's huge. You take all that stuff into my payroll is about $35,000 a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to take all that into consideration to go who's paying, because the bank's not always there for me. So I have to rely on our relationships and scheduling and things. That goes into scheduling, like all the way across the board, all those things that you mentioned. There's what creates a whole general contractor and a good one that you want to work for. And going out on the job as I do with all the other 20 different sub-trades and hearing the way they talk and thing, that's how you and I created this podcast.
We got this great idea, this wonderful idea. We should just do this.
I can't believe I heard so-and-so just say this. And oh my God, I mean, he's just going to lose the relationship. I get in my truck sometimes. I go, God, why did he say that?
Yeah.
Like, dude, these people are writing your check.
Yeah.
As subcontractors, we think, oh, I'm the contractor, I'm the boss. No. That there's somebody's name on that check that comes in the mail, and you got to have respect for that name. And,
Yeah.
I work for you. I just wear a different shirt.
Yeah.
Different way of getting paid than the other guys, and wear a different shirt. And that's kind of what I tell my guys. They got to think of that.
Yeah, and I always like the team approach, right? As much as you're like, we work for you, and you guys are signing our check, or this is where it's going. Ultimately, though, everybody has to do their part on the team for the project to come together and for the project to look good, right? And so, for how often you finish drywall, how often do you see the finished product?
Not that often,
right?
That is, if we do 300 a year, I don't see 300. I can tell you that.
Right? It's so funny. We had our first sub appreciation event. When was that? Last year around Christmas time. And we put that slideshow up in the front lobby when we had everybody at the office. And we put the slideshow through of all the finished products, nice and photographed and staged and looking pretty. And it was so fun to watch your guys and some of our other key trades that worked in so many of our projects just watch this slideshow of all these jobs that we've finished over the last few years. And like, oh, that's what that looked like. Oh, well, that's where they put the couch there. And like, that looks amazing. And so it's just cool to see that, though, because a lot of it, everybody just touches their individual part. But once they get to the end, it's like, we're there for the home stretch, right? You guys might be there to touch up a ding in the wall that the, countertop guy did, but, you're not seeing the finish of it.
No.
So.
No, and you take all that responsibility. At the end of the day, the client doesn't know who I am.
Yeah.
They call Tankersley, they don't call Jerry. There's an issue. So, I mean.
Well, and that's, I think, part of the discussion that we always have as well is like the risk that when you run a company, right? What does that look like? What's the risk look like? You've got guys on the road. You've guys drive, Jerry Brewer drywall trucks, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Yeah, that's we got 6 on the road, and somebody's always dinging, scratching, running, banging, slamming something. You
Mhm.
know, if something doesn't break today, somebody will break it tomorrow.
Right.
You know, so that's definitely big. You know, that definitely plays into when I'm looking for another again the general contractor. They
Mhm.
have this infrastructure like I do because then they'll know when the price comes in. From me at $5 and the other guy comes in at 2. He's not playing on the same field as Jerry and I. You know,
Yeah.
you I always say when you grow your business, grow your subcontractors as well. You need to have that. We're
Yeah.
part of your team, right? And
Mhm.
and if we're all playing on the same field, it's good.
It has to be. I think you just did an Instagram post, maybe it was last week or so, that you came out and you were talking about the difference of, your entity being, licensed and insurance and your workers' comp and all those kind of things. And
Mhm.
so I think it was very informative of the reality of what it costs to do business here and to follow all the rules,
Mm.
right? I think that's how you said it. It's like if you're not following all the rules or this guy's so much cheaper, well, why? What's he not
What's he not
doing?
doing? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They get, like I said on that one, I say you get a 2-for-1 package. He's
Mm.
paying one guy on the regular payroll and the other guy comes in cash.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a weird game out there. And we're in that sweet spot where you could be approached by guys that are not playing on the same field as I am,
Mhm.
and,
Mhm.
and I have to compete against those guys,
Yeah.
and there's certain general contractors that really don't care. They're just looking for the bottom line.
Yeah.
And later that's a problem, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I think from the GC to the subcontractor standpoint, we require all of our subs to be licensed and insured and then name us initially insured because ultimately you have to fall under your own umbrella, especially with like workers' comp and employees. But then there's the risk that we run over all of everybody who's on the site. So it's not only are you worried about if your employee gets hurt, now we need to have our due diligence of if your employee gets hurt and you hurt our employee or you hurt now another sub trade, if there's multiple people that are involved in an accident of some sort. And I think it's funny because people are so fixated on the price, but I think the perspective is lost of how much it costs for us to actually do business and to ensure that. I mean, ultimately, these are all things that are built by individuals, right? It's one of
Mm.
the true things that are actually left that somebody makes and they actually put together with their hands, and
Yeah.
it's a craft, no different than a original artwork, right?
Yeah.
And
We're out
it
there
costs
putting
money.
it together.
Yeah, and it costs money to do that, and it costs money to insure everybody properly to go do that. It's risky. We take risk every day. Every day. We went to the circus on Friday. We took our kids to the circus on Friday. And my head, I'm like, the circus does not sound risky to me after my day today because I do this every day and this all seems risky. And then I go to the circus and I watch these people and I'm like, this seems really sketch.
And
And I
concrete.
just think about it, but it's the same. It's no different, right? Like they're out there
Yeah.
risking something and people don't think about going to work and standing on a ladder being risky, but
Oh,
is it not?
man, I had a guy fall off just a 2-foot little ladder. It was big, huge comp claim that went on for like a year and a half before settle.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I didn't have that,
Yeah.
it would be a bigger problem.
A
They
huge
paid for
problem.
everything and it worked out good, took care of all his medical and all that jazz, and it worked out. But if you're playing the game, that guy could easily just go down and say, I was working for Tankersley
Yeah.
on this job and I fell. And you're like, who's this
Yeah.
character?
Right?
And, there are employees and things is what we think. But at the end of the day, if they get hurt, they're looking out for themselves.
Yeah.
And so we need that insurance for us between them as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Who's got the deepest pockets? Where are we going to
where are
go
we going to
after it?
go?
Yeah. And that's hard, right? Because I mean, ultimately, you're worried about the individual. You're worried about are they are going to be able to recover? Is this a recoverable injury? Are they going to have lifelong disabilities because of this? Right.
Mhm.
I worked for a company, and the motto was that we always want you to go home the way that you came to work. And I think
Mm.
that's so true, right? You show up every day. You want to be able to make sure that you're going to go home with all your fingers and you're going to be able to walk and those pieces. And it's interesting when we get paired up against somebody that doesn't follow all those requirements and guidelines, and the risk that now not only is that contractor taking on because they're not properly insured, but ultimately it goes back to the homeowner, Because if the contractor's not doing their due diligence and they're not licensed, they're not insured, now the homeowner is buying that risk. And so they might think they're getting a job for a cheaper price, but actually, they're actually taking on a huge amount of risk.
Yeah.
So,
I always wonder, I've never had a $750,000 remodel, but if I did, I wonder, put up to that, if I would make the right decision.
right?
Because it's a lot of money. Sometimes those differences are several $100,000.
Yeah.
And he's telling you, I'm
Yeah.
going to do everything A said and B said. I'm going to do it, but it's going to be 250 grand less.
Yeah.
Would I make that decision?
Yeah.
I
Right.
don't know.
That's
I'd like
hard.
to think I would.
Yeah.
I'd make the right moral decision and make sure everybody was on the same field. But I wonder the conversation of a homeowner at home when they come across that, will they gamble?
Yeah. What does that look like, right? Because if this guy's not insured and he burns my house down, my biggest investment, my most valued asset that I have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Beyond maybe my 401k, this is probably the most tangible thing that I have that has value that I could sell or I could,
Yeah.
trade up with. We were going to gamble that. And I don't think people think about their home like that. They think about, okay, I could sell this and I can sell it for $650,000. Great, right? But I don't know if people take that into consideration when they're hiring somebody and then going, well, maybe I'll let them play with a book of matches here while they're doing it.
I think that just happened.
Yeah.
That did happen. It burned down. Yeah.
So, not
Oh,
our job.
boy.
But yeah. But it's true though.
Yeah.
But it is true, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden all these things come out of the woodwork and it's, oh, actually we're not insured and actually we don't have anything to cover that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. There's just the minimums that people can get to fool everybody, is kind of what I was saying in that video. And it's like
Mhm.
they have the minimum, but they're not paying all the right stuff. And insurance could not pay. They could say, "Oh, you weren't covered this way, and you weren't supposed to be doing this,"
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know. And they could, and that goes back to having a team, right? And I believe not only your team members that you have,
Mhm.
and you and everybody, but my insurance broker, making sure that I'm insured properly.
Yeah.
That's super important.
Yeah.
And
Has that been something for you? I know for us, like when we've grown, right? You have to, there's growing pains the bigger that you get, right? You have to have different coverages, different liabilities, all that kind of stuff. How's that been for you? I know for us, it's been that's always what are you going to do for ours is based off of revenue. So how much
Yeah.
revenue we do a year and then how many employees that we have. And so there's always kind of a good guesstimate work of, okay, this is what our budget is for the goal for the year. This is what we want to do in revenue. So for us, it's always been okay, are we making the right guess here, right? Because you want to make sure
Yeah.
you have it and you might have to update mid-year. How's that been
Yep.
for you?
Same. And I have a really good broker. This guy just tells it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Hey, we're not going to do that. What are you doing? And this is the reality of it, and this is what it costs."
Yeah.
And he makes sure you're not overinsured, but not underinsured, insured for the right things. But yeah, same sort of thing, and then you grow your business, the price goes up over here, you got more employees, and it just keeps going up and up and up, and you still got to pay your guys more,
Yeah.
So that's the cost, that's what it takes. And the sweet spot, like we're talking about, of what size general contractor, not too big, not too small.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where you are and I am. It's like we can manage the guys, we can manage the insurance, we can do a good job.
Yeah.
We can, manage it all. And that's what I like. That's what I like to work for, is kind of everybody that's in that nice little sweet spot. Not too small, not too big.
How long do you think it took for you guys to get to the sweet spot? How many years?
Probably 10.
Yeah.
Before I realized maybe I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Once I decided to stop working and get people in place for things,
Mhm.
even when I pulled the guy out of the field, I still kind of held on to him a little longer than I should have, managing, "Oh, I'll do this over here and work a little bit." But when I finally, probably 2018, I probably finally said, "I'm not even carrying any tools in my truck."
Yeah.
That was when I started to realize, focus in on business stuff and realize what I had going, and who I needed to look for.
Working on the business
Work-
versus in the
Yeah,
business,
yeah.
right?
One foot in that door and one out was not a good idea.
That's hard.
You're over there. True story. I slammed my knee on the truck hitch, and then somebody I worked for called me and just said something, and I ripped their ass up. and I never worked for him again.
That was it.
And I just saw him, yeah, this weekend at the Nary golf tournament, and I
Oh,
thought about it.
did you apologize?
No.
Didn't bother you enough to be like, let's make amends, let's work
No,
for each other again.
he's one of those guys that saw me growing
Yeah.
and kind of was leaning away from, oh, Jerry's getting too big and maybe I should go. He never wanted to grow his business. He was a chuck in a truck and, maybe his son or something like that. And I could tell that happens. There's guys that get jealous. They're 15, 20 years older than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm growing further than they are.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, why isn't it working for me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know all the answers to why it's not, but don't get mad at me for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to figure out what that is. Yeah, I think that sweet spot. I feel like people think that the sweet spot should be a quick thing. It's not a long game. I don't know. There's like this, like all the Instagram gurus and all these people, right? Of like, you just got to hire somebody and it's like 2 years. It'll be fine, right? No big deal. Yeah. It's just hire them all in. You don't need to actually do it.
Yeah,
and
another 120 grand a year. Another
just, add another title onto the org chart.
Another office for that.
Yeah.
You start adding up all the money it costs to just hire somebody. Where am I going to get the work to pay for these people?
Yeah.
That happens all the time. I see many guys get all this stuff and go and they go, I remember a guy told me, I'm growing now. And like 6 months later, he had no work. And I was like, what about all the people you hired?
Yeah, what's your plan for
those
that?
Poor bastards. Now what are they doing?
Yeah.
Like you had no sort of like plan.
Yeah, of what that looks like.
Yeah, and it's just like, that sucks.
And that's so hard. And I think even for us, I think we've grown fast. People, I think, look at it and they're like, oh my God, you guys have grown so fast. I think I call it strategic growth in that I know what we've always been capable of. I think for us, we have the tendency to grow and it's like, well, hurry, we got to get somebody on the ship. We got to go, right? Train's leaving the station. We got to move. And that's such a hard balance because I'm with you. It's like I never wanted to hire somebody and then not have anything for them to do. And we also, we're so strategic about who we bring onto the team. It's such a difference. And we've hired too fast. We haven't hired for maybe the right resume, but not the right culture. We've hired for the right culture, but not the right resume. And so it's such a hard piece now. And now being farther down the road, for us, it's like there's key positions now that it's like, okay, I know the personality. I know the person that needs to sit in that role. They need to have at least these skills, but you also have to have these elements that you bring to the team in order to keep culture good and an enjoyable place to work. And so I think that's always so hard. But it takes that time, right? It takes 10 years to figure out what that looks like and do it wrong, and get sued and gets, it's like everybody's thinks it's just quick. It's just, you should figure it out. It's no big deal, right?
Right.
So just hire
No, I've
them.
watched you guys. People ask me because they go, "Oh, you're close with Tankersley. You work over there. Like, what are they up to? What are they? How do they do it? And I go, well, they don't sit on their hands.
Yeah.
They'll hire and they'll fire if it's not working.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't working out. Don't do that. We're gonna move over here. Fire him. That's not working. Oh my God, sorry. Whatever.
Yeah.
And like that's short. We got a short window here. You can't hold on to people forever if it's not working out.
Yeah.
You got to grow and you got to learn from your mistakes and not stick your head in the sand after one or two of them either, and that's something I admire about you guys. And I'm guilty of holding on to people. I hold on to them, because you start feeling for somebody and it's hard.
It's so hard because there's such a personal aspect of it too. But then there's the torn between business and personal.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I want to keep on because this person's got a family and they got kids to feed and they got, whatever, add the story up, right?
Yeah.
But it's just not the right fit. Square peg round hole, or not the right, fit for the culture, or it's just like, I don't know, you're just not working, right? And so I think that's been a challenge for us too. I mean, the 90-day, I don't know if you guys have a policy. We have a 90-day kind of interim employee, you're hired, 90 days probation. That's where we really figure out if you're going to make it. And so I would say for us, within 90 days, I could figure out if you're going to sink or swim. It's true. I don't know how does that work in your company?
We go about 90 minutes. You get working down the wall, and then I go, okay,
Yeah. No. That's wonky. You're out. That looks like garbage. You can't do it.
No,
Sorry.
it's everybody puts on their best face when they're in front of the boss, right? And they're how great they
Mhm.
are, and this or that, and they're gonna be culture. Oh yeah, I love doing that, and I
Yeah.
send him out undercover with one of my guys, and
Yeah.
he reports back and says who he really is,
Yeah.
and we go from there. But yeah, that's how we roll with all that. Is
I mean, I see the same people out there, but what's your tenure like in terms of how many employees that have been working for you for how long?
wow.
What's your kind of average median of people for how long they've worked for you?
Will just turned 60 on Friday,
Oh,
and
big
he
Will.
was 47.
Wow.
Yeah, and so he went from a young 47 to 60-year-old man, which isn't old, but is old for construction when you're out there
Yeah.
working.
Well, and hauling in sheets of drywall and
Yeah,
everything else. But Will is like the happiest guy ever. And I
he's
love
the
Will.
best.
Every time I see him on site, I'm always like, he always makes point, like, what's going on,
Yeah.
brag about his kids,
Oh yeah.
see what's going
His daughter's
on.
having a baby today, I think.
Oh, that's
So it's a big deal.
exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandpa Will. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best. I just had to tell somebody this morning. I said, "Hey, what we're doing today is not important, but having his attitude is.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to get through the next 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
He's been in drywall since like 1984.
You think it's like his day two. Like he
Yeah.
always just shows up so happy. Like he's just like, what's
Yeah.
up? How's it going, Heather?
Yeah.
All right. What else you need me to get? Like he's always on that.
I got really lucky. So I don't take him for granted.
Yeah.
But I've got him, what would I say about, what's that, 12, 13
Yeah.
years? Mike's like 11 years. A lot of sevens and fives and fours and stuff like that. So we got, some that come and go, but those
Yeah.
are the main guys that stay.
But in residential, I mean, I think any tenure over 2 years it's like dog years. It's like, holy cow, you've been here longer than 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing.
Yeah. You got to deal with everybody's life when you keep guys that long.
Yeah.
They grow as people, their families grow, they got problems, people die, people go through
Mhm.
other personal issues. And as a good person, you want to be there for them.
Yeah.
You just don't let them go and like trash. So I'm trying to keep that together.
Yeah. That's so yeah, you get creative, you move it around, you try to do all the things as an owner and an employer of somebody. That's always in the back of my mind. Somebody asked me the other day, I'm like, a lot of people count on me to make really good choices, right?
Yeah.
They count on me to make really good choice of what clients we're going to work for because ultimately if we do a good job and we sell this pre-con and then we sell the final proposal and we get them on board to do construction, right? People are counting on me to pick good people to work with, right? That then in turn relate to a good job that then also gives my subs jobs, which keeps their guys employed. And it's interesting because I don't think anybody thinks about the things that we do and how many people we on the GC side and the relationship we have of working together, how much that affects, right? Like people are counting you to pick good clients, right? Because ultimately you work for GCs,
Yeah.
you don't have to work for homeowners.
Oh,
And so,
yeah, it's great.
right? But if we're
you guys get to do all the hard work.
yeah, but if we're bad pickers and we pick somebody bad and let's say the client's not happy with us, right? What does that mean for
Seen
you
it.
guys? You guys,
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen you go through it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, that's embarrassing.
it's painful. It's painful, right? Yeah, because you're just like, holy cow, this isn't fun, right? And then just weighs on everybody. And
Yeah.
these aren't little jobs. These aren't jobs that are, 6 weeks and we're out. This is a 6 months to a year and a half. And
Yeah.
a year and a half, if it's not going right, it's not pretty at all.
It's important. It's important for you guys to pick the right team. That's for sure. I see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh man, like I said, I get back in the truck and I go, what the hell just happened?
What is
You know?
happening over there?
But you guys have went through them and you're building a great team. I mean, right now I can't think of anybody as sub trade wise that I know. I don't know everybody, but I'm like, when we do the pull schedule things, I'm like, oh, these guys are nice, and do they perform in the field all the time? I don't know. We're all human, right? So sometimes we're like, something happens, but yeah, it's important for you guys. We're a direct reflection of you. when you're not there. You're
Yeah.
going to be there every day, right? So we
Yeah.
try to make sure we're, cleanliness personally with the guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
huge thing, right? We're
Yeah.
not, and our jobs are some nice neighborhoods,
Yeah.
nice homes, and a guy pulls up in a 92 Civic with an oil leak. That's a problem.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just spent $1 million on this remodel with you, and this guy in a 90, they see that.
Yeah.
They think things. Maybe they shouldn't, but they do.
Yeah. They
You know?
worry about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe this person, should I be worried
Who
about
did
this?
I hire?
Yeah. What about, yeah, am I going to have drywall footprints down my driveway now, right?
Yeah.
Like, how clean is this going to be? Am I going to have to clean up after them? Like,
Yeah.
what does that look like? So, yeah. It's
Yeah.
very, very true.
Yeah. So it's something I think about, to keep my job, make your life easy. That's kind of the goal.
Yeah. I think we've talked a ton about insurance. We've talked about growth. We've talked about employees. What would be your biggest advice to somebody maybe who's starting out, who is newer, smaller, getting started? What would be your advice as a business owner?
People, actually, a couple people in the last 6 months, because it's been slow, have called. They're like, "Hey, Jared, like, how are you doing? I see you're over here,
Yeah.
over there." And Instagram, you post where you're going and what you're doing. "Hey, I'm over here with this guy and that guy," right?
Yeah.
And some of these guys have come up in an age where the getting's been good the last 10 years. They've never had a recession.
Mm-hmm.
They're too young, or their business is too young, or whatever the deal is. They've just been working and getting jobs, just getting them.
Yeah.
And now they slow down and they're like in their head thinking, what's going to happen, and what are we going to do, and and
Yeah.
all this stuff. And I just tell them to keep on trucking.
Yeah.
That's all you really can do. There's no like magic sauce for that. It's treat the people well that you work for now. And what's that movie? ABC. Always be closing. Always be looking for new people to work for. Because I might treat you well, but you could be bad at business and go out of business tomorrow.
Yeah.
You might just retire.
Yeah.
One guy that I worked for I don't know, forever.
Yeah.
He retired like 2 years ago. It was like a $230,000 hit.
Yeah.
In revenue.
Yeah. And now
That's two employees.
Yeah, he's packing up. He's gone. He moved to Idaho. He's out.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
And then certain industries slow down too. So I try to keep my foot in a little bit of all the industries, 1% commercial.
Yeah.
1%, just if the right thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
But, big custom homes, all the remodels, baths and kitchens, just to stay busy, to keep the 13 guys with a 40 hours a week check.
Yeah.
So I don't, advice, I got hundreds of those, but who knows if they're right. I'm still got 25 years left.
Yeah.
In 10 years, it'll be different advice.
So you pack it up and you move to Idaho?
I'm going to die right here in Sacramento.
You think so?
Yeah, I've got a big tattoo on my stomach that says Sacramento.
There you
I can't go.
Man,
I can't go anywhere.
learning all kinds of stuff about you today, Jerry.
Yeah,
More than I already know.
We'll do one without my shirt on it. Everybody will see what the hell's going on.
We have to have everybody sign an HR waiver. The production team, everybody's going to have an HR waiver for Jerry's inappropriateness. It's going to be great. Yeah.
I thought this was just radio. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Shoot. Jerry, we'll get the makeup artist in here. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you make a good point, though, that it's always looking, we call it turning over rocks, right? Is what we call it. We're turning over rocks. Where's the kind of, who have we not talked to? Who else do we need to kind of search for to drum up that work? You can't just sit back on your heels and go, okay, well, my phone's going to ring. Somebody's going to call me. They're going to need something, right? You got to kind of,
you got to make the phone ring.
Yeah. You got to shake it up a little bit, see what's out there, see where you can land. And I think Steve in our company does that really well. That's his main role, is the sales and the marketing and that initial contact with clients. Him and Jen are all about the client experience and how do we make that better. And then serving our clients that we have. I mean, we're almost 10 years in business now. We've got quite a few clients that we've done. And so the houses we finished, warranty, we're well past a year, but checking in with those clients. What else do you need? What can we do? What's,
and
maybe
your
not
biggest is your referral base. So you treating your current clients like they're your next clients, right?
Always.
That's what they say for you guys, right?
Always, right? And then we might be out, I always tell clients, we have a standard 1-year warranty, but I'm not going anywhere. It's not like we have an office, our trucks are around town. We live in the communities that we build in.
Yeah.
So for us, we're not going anywhere. So I always wanted to be that we're still a resource for you and something that we could do. We have a client right now, we're 2 years out, and we bought the appliance package for their home, and they've been having issues with the stove, and we've coordinated having repairs out, and we went back to the manufacturers, and we've had multiple trips that we've helped coordinate and orchestrate in order to have their stove addressed that they paid a good amount of money for, a very custom stove. And it's to the point now where they're actually going to get a brand new stove. Wow. 2 years later, there's nothing in it for me other than to keep serving my client with a relationship that I have through the vendor we bought it through, that we still buy through. And it's, hey, we give you guys a lot of work, and we buy a lot of product from you, and I really need you to help my client who's very dissatisfied with the product that they bought 2 years ago that we've continued to still have issues with. And they finally have said, yeah, we're going to replace it, which is amazing, right? I don't have to do that. We're well out of warranty for us, but that's just showing up. It's treating your clients what I would expect if I had bought something, and how I would want somebody to treat, my pool or any other product that I bought or service that I paid for, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's what makes you different than, I'd say, a lot of the people out there. They're just ready to leave at the end of that year of remodel build. They are ready to go.
Peace
Never
out.
talk to you again.
Lose my number. I have no idea,
But
right?
yeah, I've been on the team long enough to know that, like, you've had me back at people's homes that was 2 to 3 years later doing stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, we're gonna. Hey, you know what? There's
community.
Exactly. Hey, it's something we're gonna do. We're gonna pay our drywall guy to come back up. We're gonna take care of this piece here. That's on us, and we're gonna take onus for maybe something that we could have done better, or maybe something we freak accident, but we're gonna help take care of and do, because that's what we do for our clients.
I hope it was the range. There was a range on a job that we did, a whole house, that the price of it was more than my drywall price. So
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
How good it broke.
Yeah. So,
By the way, it was a $57,000 drywall bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do the math, right? Yeah, if it was more. So, but it's true. You got to keep showing up, got to keep stepping up. So, I think that's awesome. Well, Jerry, what do you think for our first episode?
I don't know. We rambled on. I don't know how long it's been. I don't know. I've got notes. Steve prepared many, many notes, and
he did. And we know what we really appreciate Steve for doing that. I'll give us a C for following the prompts. I think we did well.
You think so?
I think we did well. I think we hit on a lot of good stuff. I think it's also going to be what the overarching theme, I think, is going to be for this, right? It's going to be a good topic. We're going to come in here, and I think for the most part, for us, I think it's going to be both guests. We're going to have some other industry folks in here, variety of people.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it's going to be what's been going on for us.
Yeah, what's been going on, the do's and don'ts. If you're a subcontractor listening, just treat these generals the best. You guys go out and get the work. You go get it. You prepare it. You go get the money, and you pay us. All we got to do is job. That's it. It's pretty simple, So I really appreciate the relationships with you and a lot of the people that I work for. You would do most of the work, really.
Yeah.
And that, to these subs that are out there, I mean, that's the number one thing. It's the relationship. And when you're in this sweet spot where we don't have a gazillion employees and we don't have 2, we can service you better. The relationship is good, and we could work together for the next 30 years. There's no reason not to.
For sure. And I think for the GCs, it's your subs are your teammate. It's like picking kids in dodgeball, right? Like, I'm going to want like a big kid, and then I'm going to want a little kid to maybe hide behind the big kid. And like, you're going to want to pick your team appropriately, but ultimately that's your team. Those are your resources. And that fostering those relationships of, hey, Jerry, we have conversations, my team with you all the time of, hey, we're going to be ready for you in 2 weeks. Hey, actually, we're not going to be ready. If you need to book something else, go book something else, right?
Yeah.
We're constantly talking about that, but you're valuing the communication, and you're valuing what that sub brings, and then trying to help orchestrate, get all the people through on the most efficient job site that you can, and how long you need to go do your job. And I think just being a general contractor with so many people working under you, you have to really look at, okay, what can I do to help facilitate them getting done what they need to get done? Because ultimately, you want to make your general contractor happy. You want to do a good job, right? But it's also just knowing. It's like, hey, Jerry, I think we're going to be late. Oh, okay, fine. You know what? I'm glad you told me, because actually I'm going to go fill that little spot I got over here, right? And that's valuable to you because What do
you
you
know?
do that or sit somebody at home?
You gotta communication is so big, because
Mhm.
that affects your pocketbook, because all of a sudden you got
Yeah.
this guy and his job's not ready, whatever. I'm always calling and talking to everybody about everything
Yeah.
to make sure we can flow right and
That over communicate all of the pieces.
all day long,
All the
all day long.
pieces.
I think my phone's ringing probably a dozen times as we've been sitting here.
Oh,
So
that should be the count at the end of the
who
show.
had more missed calls?
Oh, I kind of like this. Are we counting texts in this too? Because I get a lot of texts
Um,
too.
I don't know. We'll have to go through the guidelines.
Oh, okay. Moment of truth. How many did you get? Moment of truth. How many did you get while you were in here?
Oh man. 5 missed calls, 1 text, 1 email.
Ooh, I don't have my email. I got 2 missed calls and 3 texts. So you win this round.
Okay.
You win this round. I think we're going to know how busy each other are of what's coming up. I think it's going to be good. I think this
Yeah.
will be a good test. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good because I will only be active. I'm actively running one project, but here in about a month and a half, I won't be actively running anything as like the direct point of contact. That'll be Janae.
Mhm.
So I think this will be even a better discussion
Oh.
because if I'm getting more phone calls, it means more things are blowing up.
Yeah. Forward it to her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate. I know we've gotten a lot of fanfare. It seems like on social media, but if you don't, we have a Instagram. So go check out our Instagram. We're gonna keep posting stuff on there and keep bringing you guys some good content.
Yeah, and thanks for Steve Tankersley for, kind of the behind the scenes
Yeah.
man, setting it up, getting us
Yeah.
over here and getting it together.
I know. We'll get him
Yeah.
mic'd up one of these days and get him in here.
Yeah,
He could be our
right in the
chime in
camera.
producer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. We'll put some of these crazy spotlights on him. It'll be awesome. I appreciate it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Jerry.
Thank you.